dirt, building my dome. Concrete walls, yeah, it's my home. Stockpile stacked with rations tight. Prep for the dark, we'll light the fight. Forage the woods, take what I need. Off-grid living, no time for greed. Barter goods in the shadow shade. Tactical steps in plans I've laid. Back to the bunker where the truth won't bend. Water and food where the road might end. Bug out bags by the door, stand tall. Prepared for the fall. Yeah, prepared for it all. Generators hum, a comforting sound. Blackout nights when chaos surrounds. Seeds in jars, yeah, we're growing life. Homesteading strong in a time of strife. No high-tech wires, no web to roam. Resilience beats the world unknown. Hands in the soil, hearts in the fight. Staying ready every day, every night. Back to the bunker where the truth won't bend. Water and food where the road might end. Bug out bags by the door, stand tall. Prepare for the fall. Yeah, prepare for it all. Back through the bunker where the truth won't bend. Water and food where the road might end. Bug out bags by the door, stand tall. Prepare for the fall. Yeah, prepare for it all. Prepare for it all.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Prepper Hangout. I've had with me Mr. Jack over from Guerrilla Tactical, spelled correctly. G-U-R-I. Nope, G-U-I-R-R-I-L-L-A. Right?
Two R's and two L's. That's what I always tell everybody.
2 R's and 2 L's. That's what I'm saying. How are you doing tonight?
Good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing better. I'm doing better. Just got a new Red Bull, emptied my bladder, and all of the machine things are working, which is super awesome when it happens.
Hey, for now, because you
Super
never know the
awesome.
technology.
So, guys, as most of you know, I go out and I ask the YouTubes and the interwebs, like, what is Guerrilla Tactical and what is this about? And basically, there's two things happening here. One, there's a business, and two, there's a YouTube channel. And this guy is like multifaceted, which is why I'm kind of eager to have him on today. His whole team. I kind of wish all three of you guys to get still together.
With the people here at the company.
Yeah, there was 3 guys that were in the thumbnails.
Yeah. So there's a few different people that jump in on the YouTube, and actually the YouTube channel we just kind of revamped this year.
Okay.
So we're getting back into doing regular content, longer form videos. And so we have the 2 people are myself and one of our guys named Buddy. He's a fire medic, ex-Marine, EMT, bunch of cool different stuff he's done, contracting overseas for years. And he's been involved with the company now for about a year. Mm-hmm. So the 2 of us kind of head up the YouTube stuff. And then we have a guy, Tim, who does sales for us and makes holsters. And you'll see his face on there sometimes. And then another guy, Josh, that'll show his face on there once in a while as well.
I gotcha. So there's 4 of you then.
That'll kind of pop in and out of YouTube. There's more that's involved in the company, but
Yeah,
as far as
yeah, obviously. I just think it's funny because whenever you guys get together on your YouTubes, it can be kind of funny. It can be kind of funny.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you actually put a lot of effort into your videos. You guys make some pretty crisp videos. But the old interweb says the channel is owned and operated by Guerrilla Tactical and founded and led by Jack Potter,
It's me.
who serves as CEO, I'm guessing. Potter is
Yep.
frequently featured in podcasts and interviews discussing the brand's origins, his background in homesteading, global training expertise, experiences, and the company's commitment to tactical gear innovation. No other specific code that, and that's just junk that Grok throws in there. It says that you basically your content is 40% product gear reviews and showcases, 30% firearm tutorials and education, 20% tactical and self-defense tips, and 10% self-sufficiency and lifestyle. So why don't we start with the basically products that your company is making? I'd like what's the cornerstone product for Guerrilla Tactical and why?
So Guerrilla Tactical, I was working overseas in maritime, off the coast of Africa I was doing that for about almost 6 years. And when 2020 happened, if you remember, some things happened and the world kind of changed. And we were doing some patrolling off the coast of France, and people were talking about this virus, and I flew home. I was done with my rotation, and I was, got back, home about a week before they shut the borders and, started canceling flights. And then we were kind of twiddling our thumbs here, and I was kind of thinking to myself, okay, I don't know when I'm going to be able to go back to work. I was doing a 3-on 3-off rotation at that time, 3 months on, 3 months off. And I was, things were changing, and the world was kind of a crazy place. And I started making knives actually as a hobby, but also as a way to make a little bit of money, and just kind of an art form as well. I had a nice little shop here, and I had a lot of the same tools that you needed for holsters. So when things started to kick off in 2020 and 2021, I was getting a lot of word of mouth business on knives, and then people started asking me for holsters. And since I was already using Kydex to make the sheaths of the knives, it was a very quick and easy transition to be able to offer holsters. Yeah. So people were asking me, say, hey, I need a holster for my Glock. I need a holster for this. I started saying, yeah, I can do that. Sure. I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and like to take on an opportunity when it arises. And also a chance to, give back to my immediate community, because a lot of the people were in my immediate community who were wanting and needing this gear. So we started making holsters, and holsters still to this day probably make up about 70% of the business. It's the bread and butter still. It's what we do day in, day out, 5 days a week here, sometimes more, just making and shipping holsters. So we still do that. Processes have changed a lot since the earlier days of middle of 2020 when we started the company. And then the other thing with everything going on, medical training has a big part of my past career, as well as just wanting to be more and more prepared and getting more people involved in preparedness of carrying medical gear and just knowing the essentials of trauma control and the MARCH system and all that. So I knew, of course, we were doing holsters, and we wanted to stick with that as our main product that we were doing and building and making. But we wanted to also start offering some high quality medical gear, and then starting to try to help break down those walls and barriers for people to say, hey, it's not rocket science. Actually, hemorrhage control is quite simple. Let's offer you some basic training. Let's bring in some good instructors. Let's start local classes, and let's start to bring kind of my immediate community together and get people more trained up. So that's what we started doing in 2020 and 2021. We ran a variety of 2-day stop the bleed courses, 1 day and 2 day stop the bleed, trauma control. And then, of course, we were making and packaging our own IFAKs that we created. So holsters and medical were the biggest part of this journey when we got going. And now we do a lot of retail. We do a lot of other products. We do some nylon, and a lot of other little innovative things that we're working on kind of on a monthly basis as well.
I got you. Yeah, I noticed too. You've got kind of a nifty little. I don't know if I'd call it a gadget, but a nifty little tool for the smaller tourniquets. I can't remember the name of it. I actually have one.
The snake staff ETQs.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So we invented a thing what we called our ECS, or expedient carry system, because one of the things is, I commend Snake staff for coming out with those tourniquets, because prior to that, a lot of people were not carrying Cat 7 tourniquets on them every day. I mean, they're tried
Yeah.
and true, but they're big tourniquets, and there's soft tees,
Mhm.
and there's other types of tourniquets. But I mean, for the most part, we were finding that everyday people did not have that as part of their everyday carry. So when they came out with such a small, compact tourniquet that was proving to work really well, and showing a lot of good data, we brought that on. We trained and tested with it for about 4 or 5 months, until we opted to bring them in and start selling them in store. But I found that there was no good way to carry those tourniquets. You'd throw them in your
Mhm.
pocket, they would get lost. And I didn't like that. So for me, we sat down, made a very simplistic design that allows that tourniquet to sit just where like a pocket knife would.
Yeah.
And you can quite literally access that tourniquet with 2-finger application, single hand application on the tourniquet. And you just know it's there. If you ever do need it, you know it's right there. So we built that as a counterpart with the Snake staff system in mind. It of course holds other stuff as well, but it works flawlessly with that tourniquet every single time.
Sorry about that. I just noticed that it says we went from having 20 something people in here to 0 viewer count. So I'm wondering what if YouTube is playing games with us,
Uh-oh.
which does happen from time to time. All right. So Tina says, yeah, the chat is live. And you must have a sex. Your wife must be very happy, because the majority of the people that are in the chat right now are women. Not a joke. Just happen to notice it. Just happen. Tim's like, I'm not a woman. Tim Huther, longtime follower.
Nice.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, I think that's, I may actually be on the website later on tonight picking up one of those, because I do like the idea, and that's one of the things. So I picked up that tourniquet at the Kentucky Sustainable, what is it? Kentucky Homesteading and Sustainable Preparedness. It's got too much words. I've already talked to the owner and said change it, but
Nice.
he's already got too much brand name on it. So,
Yep.
but I picked one up there, and that was the biggest problem that I had with it, was like,
Yeah.
which pocket do I stick in? I don't do the cargo pocket thing.
Yeah, not a
Do
cargo
I need to
pants
go
guy.
buy an anklet? I mean, it was just so. And I saw that in your that interview that I watched of you. And yeah, I'm sorry, Tim. I can't control the advertisements. Yeah, YouTube is playing games. They keep putting the advertisements in front of the chat.
Oh, that's annoying.
But yeah, and that's why it sits on the shelf, to be honest with you. I just keep tourniquets everywhere, but
Sure.
that's why it just sits on the shelf. So I may be picking up one of those, because I really like that bell clip idea.
Yeah, I mean, it fits so excellently in your pocket that, and we've done a ton of testing with it in all different situations, whether you're, whatever elevation you're at, crouching, laying down, running, everything. And that thing comes out with the just literal pull of 2 fingers, and that tourniquet's in your hand, ready to go. Yeah.
I love it. All right, let's see here. Tina says, yes. And guys, this is where you need to be throwing some questions. I know it's early on to ask you for questions, but if you've got questions, then you need to throw them in there right now. So the other thing that I noticed too about your channel was, like, the very first video that you ever made was about basically counter ambush.
Yeah.
And one of the things that one of the downfalls in the preparedness community is that people just don't, one, they don't train as hard as they should.
Right.
And 2, they don't train with their firearms.
Right.
They're very lax. They're very complacent. They go to the range once a month, that kind of thing. And for some people, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? But for others that live in environments where things can get bad very quickly, then they should definitely be doing this. So, what drove you to start like making they're basically training videos. They're very well done. And putting them on your channel?
Well, and again, it's kind of a shame, because we've been so busy with growth of the company and going all different directions here in-house, that we haven't had the ability to put the same effort into training videos that we want to. We have more on tap, stuff that we're working on. But those earlier videos, the idea behind that is this, and I want to preface it by saying that we strongly believe in the Second Amendment here. We believe everyone's right here in the United States to be able to access the tools to protect themselves and their loved ones. Of course, that goes without saying. That being said, carrying a firearm is an extremely large responsibility, whether you want to accept that or not. So we have a decent sized platform now across our different channels, and we really use that to say, if you're going to carry, you need to do so responsibly. And that's why we wanted to put out some training videos for people in real world situations to show, hey, it's not that big of a deal to get out there and actually put in the effort. And that's why we want to try to break down against some of those walls to show people, hey, you're in your vehicle a lot. People are driving to and from work, where the United States is set up as such that you have to drive everywhere for the most part. And so people spend a lot of time in their cars. And that's why we wanted to start with some videos like that, because if you are responsibly carrying your firearm and you are training with your firearm, you may find yourself in a situation where you need to do counter ambush tactics. It doesn't have to be a military terminology. That happens to everyday people. So that's why we did those videos to start that 2-part series, just kind of breaking it down. And we want to make stuff as easily digestible for people as possible, because we understand people are busy and we understand people have a lot of other things going on in their lives, families, work, whatever. And we want to make things simple and to the point and break down those walls so that people have the ability to take the information that they need and then go out there and say, cool, today, this weekend, I'm going to train with purpose and I'm going to work on X, Y, Z and get better in this area. So,
yeah. And guys, if you get the opportunity, if you go to YouTube on your PC and you go to the Guerrilla Tactics YouTube page, which is actually in the description, there's a button for like when you watch the videos where you can just hit oldest, and it's the very first video that they ever made, and it's an excellent tutorial on how to defend yourself from your car if things go bad, how to do it. And honestly, you're the only one that I've ever seen talk about the dead pedal and the brake pedal.
right.
The car's not even moving and you're talking about it. And I understand what you're saying, but a lot of people will be like, I never even thought about that.
Right.
I never even thought about like situating my body.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Before I start to do anything crazy.
And I mean, and not to dive into that video too much, because people can go watch it if they want to check it out. But even just little tips and tricks we like to throw in there, as far as like when you're in a panic and adrenaline is running high, to be able to come to center mass and follow your seatbelt down to your buckle, things like that is huge. How to swim your arm, how to position your body to go from one seat to the next. That kind of stuff is great tips, for people to pick up on, little things that we've learned over the years.
Yeah, and I don't think they understand. And then in that video, you were doing the appendix carry. I don't even think people understand how difficult it is to draw your firearm from a side holster, from a hip holster.
Oh, very
when
hard.
you're in a seatbelt. I don't think they understand that.
Yep.
So just knowing those things was absolutely great. So guys, definitely go check out their videos. These guys do know what they're talking about. I could tell just by watching that one video. Let's see, we did the tactical and self-defense, self-sufficiency and lifestyle, broader topics like homesteading, survival, personal stories. You've got a kind of a history, and like we were talking before, there are some people that may know what it is, but without going into your heavy metal background, which I actually love. Tell some people about like your background. You guys know what I'm talking about. We talked about this earlier.
Yeah. So when I was 19, 20 years old, 21 years old, I guess, it's been a number of years now, I'm a little bit older now. I knew of this organization called Sea Shepherd. And I grew up in rural upstate New York, small town, my whole life, wanted to get out, wanted to experience the world and travel. And I'd seen some stuff like this on TV, and these insane people were going on board vessels and going down to the furthest reaches of the earth, to Antarctica, to physically stop whaling. And I thought, that sounds cool. Sounds like quite an adventure for a small town kid who grew up on a farm, that kind of thing. So one thing led to the next. I sold my stuff that I owned and packed my backpack, and I was on a one-way flight to Australia, and jumped on board the vessel. With my background and some of the other things I had done, they accepted me to come work on the ship. No guarantee that I would go to sea. I proved myself over the course of about 7 or 8 months, working very hard on the ship. And they said, hey, we'd love to bring you down to the Southern Ocean with us. And so at that point, I didn't really know about much what we were going to do. I knew the kind of the history and the background of the organization. So I figured it'd be something like that, but it ended up being something much, much bigger than anything that I could ever expect. So we, up until that point, it was a lot of the focus was put on whaling, but this was at a very interesting time in that organization's history, because they were making a huge transition from like a pirate crew, you could say, of dedicated, people that really didn't have a lot of skills, but they had a lot of passion, to actually trained professionals who were going to be taking it to the next level and working directly with governments and law enforcement to really police parts of the ocean that nothing was happening that should have been. So we ended up going down to the Southern Ocean, and there was 6 vessels that were wanted by Interpol for illegal fishing operations all around. They're essentially poaching down off the coast of Antarctica. It's very protected down there. And no one was doing anything about it. So we found the most infamous of these 6 vessels. Thunder was the name of the vessel. And we now have the world record-setting chase of 110 days in maritime hot pursuit. It has the we hold that world record now. There's been documentaries about it. There's been books written about it. There's even some filmed that I think Leonardo DiCaprio or something is working on developing a film about the whole thing, because it was such an incredible story that really spread across the whole world. So we ended up working directly with Interpol. We went from the Southern Oceans across 3 different oceans and ended up off the coast of West Africa, where that crew scuttled their own vessel, or sunk their own ship, for those who don't know what that is. And we ended up rescuing 40 of their crew on the high seas off the coast of Sao Tome and Principe in West Africa. So they did this because they knew they were in a lot of trouble, and they got rid of all the evidence. And now all that evidence and that vessel is 4,000 meters down off the coast of Africa. Wow. So we worked with the local government there. They came out, they processed everybody. I think 5 or 6 of their main crew, like the fishing master, the captain, chief engineer, first mate. I think that they all did about 3 years in prison for the crimes on the high seas. And then what happened was it opened up a much larger case to be made about the whole thing, because we found out that they were using slave labor from Asian countries like Thai and Chinese and other nationalities like that. So these people were on board for 2 years without pay. Their passports were taken from them. They weren't able to leave the vessel. And then we started working with an organization in South Africa that would help process these people, get them their money, and get them sent back to their families. So what this did is it opened up a massive case to be made about what was going on. And it really was eye-opening for the world and global communities. So Interpol was at the forefront of it, and they said to us, hey, the organization is transforming. It's not what it used to be. We want to take this much more professionally, and we want to station you guys as spearheading new campaigns off the coast of West Africa in various different countries, where you're working directly with the militaries there, doing capacity building, teaching them seamanship, boarding vessel procedures, CQC.
And guys, he's on Starlink, so he's probably a little jammed up right now. He's just waiting for the satellite to come back around, and everything will be fine. This happened earlier when we were doing like our pre-show show. Here he comes. And we lost your audio.
All right.
There, you're back. You're back.
All right. Yep. So yeah, long story short, I spent a good number of years as a rib operator over there and a boarding instructor, and teaching West African militaries on how to board and inspect vessels and all of the above. So yeah, maritime's my background. Maritime security is a big part of my background. And 2020 rolled around, things kind of went to pot, and I started the company, and here we are.
I gotcha. And sometime during all of that, you kind of like learned how to clear rooms and bounce bullets off of decks, and things like that. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. I'm sorry, I know those things. Anyway, so what's the scariest story you can tell us from your time of like boarding and inspecting ships?
There's been a lot of like close calls and a lot of interesting stuff that we've dealt with over there. But one story that really sticks out to me, which I've told on one other podcast, and it's kind of It's kind of comical, especially now, but if you think about it retrospectively, it's kind of a scary story. And I'll just give you kind of the quick version here, not to bore your audience too much, but we're working in the Gambia, and we had to launch the small boats, the ribs, it was an early morning hour, 3 or 4 a.m., total pitch blackness. It was a covert operation that we had to go pick up soldiers in a secluded dock, because the problem with corruption over there is as soon as someone knows about it, they're telling everybody. And then there's no element of surprise. So we had admiralty charts, which are the charts that map out essentially like a roadmap for the coastal parts of the nation where we're at. And these charts, I noticed, were out of date by 50 years, because you're in Africa. They're not taking that care.
That's about right.
Yeah. So we were mapping out, we were charting out our positions, where we were going to be at, where the pickup point was, where we were going to make it through, because about a mile off coast, there was a bit of a shoreline that protruded out off the coastline that was a sandbar. And there was only just a few areas that we could get through safely on that sandbar. Of course, things change and the sea changes, and that sandbar was no longer the same way that it was in 50 years ago. Surprise.
Definitely.
So we're making it through there, and we're making our way through the sandbar. And of course, one thing leads to the next. Our access point is not the way that we thought it was going to be and how we had charted it out. So before we knew it, tide's coming in, blows the boat onto the sandbar. So we're very small teams right now. It's myself and one other person, a navigator in the boat. I've radio ahead to my other boat that's with us. I tell them to stand off because of the issues we're having. I trim up both outboards, and we proceed to jump out up to about our shoulders in water and push this boat off the sandbar. Now, we're doing this for probably about 45 minutes with everything that we have. And as that tide comes in, it's popping the nose of the boat up so we can gain a little ground. So it's very much 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And we're doing this with everything we have. And we finally get clear of it. And I radio these guys on the shore, and I say, hey guys, we can't safely make it through here. Sorry, but you got to send out a skiff or something with a local we can follow through, because things have changed. And so they do that. They come out, they bring the boat in, and we make it through. And it's pretty sketchy, but we get through there, and we get over to this dock, and we're picking everyone up. And the commanding officer comes up to me, and he asked me, hey, what's going on? And I said, hey, here's what happened. Sorry, we're late, but here's the issues. And they said, he said, so how did you get the boat out? I said, well, my navigator and I jumped out, and we had the engines trimmed up, and we're down there, and we're pushing it with everything we had. And we knew we had to get it out. So failure wasn't an option. We're getting it out of here. And he's like, so you were in the water? And I'm like, yeah, we're in the water. And he just puts his hand in his hands, and he's shaking his head like this. And I'm like, man, what is up? What's going on, dude? And he goes, you cannot go in the water. He goes, there are crocodiles all up and down the coast, and they hang out on the sandbars all night long to fish. You are very lucky. So retrospectively, at the time we're like, oh, okay. There was possibly a lot of crocodiles around. We'll see.
Oh, they were there. They were watching you.
Oh, for sure. And
they were like, watch this stupid white guy. Watch, he's pushing on his boat, and they're all like laughing at you.
Yep. So at this point, we were like, all right, well, it is what it is, and we're here to tell about it, So it's a funny story now, and we laugh about it all the time now. But that was probably, like, even though it's funny, and I do laugh about it, like, if you think back, like, that's probably one of the closer calls. We were also diving off the coast of Gabon on a big purse-seining vessel once, checking some stuff out, and I started to see some movement, 20, 30 feet below, circling up, and you start to get closer and closer. And I'm like, okay, let's get out of the water. And there's probably a 15, 20 foot tiger shark coming up on us to check things out, things like that, little things. Obviously during boarding procedures, unruly crew, people trying to get violent, stuff like that. But otherwise not. It was, for the most part, pretty good, but definitely some close calls here and there. Comes with the territory.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I've got actually got a question for you here from Rose. She says, would you do the anti-whaling thing again if you know then what you know now?
Yeah, I would do it. It was awesome. It was character building. It got me contacts all over the world. It spearheaded my ability to work in maritime security, primarily all the stuff that I've done in Africa. Like, it led me to where I am now. So absolutely, I wouldn't change it.
Gotcha. And I've got another, I've got a members only Discord that whenever
Sick.
I,
Nice.
we have somebody on in the Hangout, I say, hey, if you got questions, put them here, and I'll make sure that they're definitely on there. So I can't miss these.
Sure.
Candle Rose is asking, question for Guerrilla Tactical: why embrace the suck? Where did that come from?
Embrace the suck for us just means that you're not always going to be comfortable, and you still have to put in the work. So in that particular video, I think you're referencing, we were talking about getting outside, kitting up, and obviously stay hydrated. It's very important. But I mean, out here in the Pacific Northwest, people think we live in a rainforest 365 days of the year. It's not always the case. We deal with 95, 100 degree or more temperatures during the summer. And it doesn't mean that we sit inside with the AC on and, take it easy. We still need to get out there, and we still need to work on honing our skills. And we think other people should do it in a safe manner as well. So it's kind of a joke in that regard. But it is applicable in my mind to lots of facets of life, because it's not always easy, but it doesn't mean that you don't have to put your head down and grind.
There you go. Yeah. In the Marines, embrace the suck basically means this is all going to suck.
Yep.
We're going to do it anyway. So you might as well have some fun with it.
Exactly.
You know, that misery loves company mentality can get you through a lot of stuff.
Sometimes you got to go into the pain cave, and that's where you exist for a while.
The pain cave. We're going into the pain cave. That's awesome. I never heard that one before. Whenever I interview somebody, they always say something I've never heard before, which is why I love doing this trash.
Nice.
So you decided, so how long has Guerrilla Tactical been a thing, like a business?
So I'm not sure the exact month, but 2020, I usually say about middle of 2020, we started taking it very seriously. I was making knives, like I said earlier. We started making some holsters for other, friends and family, and, friends of friends, all word of mouth. And then I started doing the medical kit thing. And one weekend in particular, I don't remember the exact instance, but it was one of those crazy things that happened in 2020. Somebody got shot at a protest or something like that. And the next morning I woke up to hundreds of orders for IFAKs. And
oh, wow.
And I said, oh, okay, this is a legitimate business. People actually care about this stuff and need it. And I better take it seriously, because until that point, I was just sourcing the stuff as it came, making, selling 5 to 10 kits a week or something, not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got down. I said, okay, cool. Started that day making phone calls to suppliers, because at that point we weren't set up with North American Rescue as we are now. They make all of our custom IFAKs for us, and all of our packaging. And I was making calls, finding the stuff, sourcing the stuff. And then I brought on a good friend of mine who now runs operations for the company full time. And he helped me. He and my wife, the three of us, packed all the kits over the course of a long weekend, shipped everything out, took it in the back of his pickup, and just filled it with shipping bags, dropped it off at the local post office. That was the first time that they realized that there was a company that was going to do that kind of volume in this very small town that we live in. They were not happy that they had to do work. They've gotten good about it now, but at the very beginning, it was a struggle to drop off a bunch of packages, funny enough. And then yes, I'd say 6 or 7 months into the business, I said, okay, this is a real legitimate company. I need to start putting good effort into it. I hired my first full-time employee, and the rest has been history, as they say.
Nice. I love it. Absolutely. And the other thing, like we were discussing, I'm very, I'm believing in what's happening these days. And I'm a true believer in American-made companies, soup to nuts American. And, we were talking about that, and I think it's awesome. If you guys didn't know this, everything about this company is American, and it's, and most everybody knows me who's watching this. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe. You'll find out more. I'm a huge advocate for products that actually perform, that will work every time, that are backed by solid customer service, and that are American made. I mean, we all have some kind of cheap Chinese crap in our gear kits. We all do, because some of it's okay and some of it's not okay, but it's all we had. But in situations where it's got to work out of the box every time, then you're going to pay a little bit of money for it. And what I found by looking at your website is that all of your gear is very reasonably priced, very fairly priced. I know the market values, and guys, you should all definitely be going to check. You should all definitely be going to check out Guerrilla Tactical. if you're looking for any kind of holsters, first aid gear, things like that. So, what's your newest product?
Newest product right now, I'm trying to think what we just brought on a lot of new stuff. We actually have some stuff that's brand new sitting in here in the warehouse that's not listed yet, that's going to be coming out after the weekend. We actually just hit 100,000 followers on Instagram a couple weeks ago, which was a big milestone for us. So we're doing a big giveaway, and we're doing a merchandise drop and stuff starting tomorrow through Sunday. So that's going to kind of take the bandwidth at the company this weekend. But then following next weekend, we're going to be getting right back into that preparedness mindset, and we're bringing on 2 really cool products from Cana Provisions. I don't know if you're familiar with that company.
No, I'm not.
You should check out Cana Provisions. Everyone in the live stream should. They are awesome. They're the water people. They're located in Arkansas, I believe, and they do everything you can think of, from their own branded products to reselling other products like MSR and different things like that. But everything from water plans that they offer for free on their website to filtration systems to anything in between, Cana Provisions is the place for it. And they started about a year after us, and I've seen them grow, and Zach over there and his wife do an amazing job. So we just picked up individual water decon kits. So it's like a turnkey option to just have a very inexpensive package kit that you throw in your bag or wherever you're going with you. So that way, if you do need to filter water and you need to make water, you have it right there with you. And then we're going to also carry some stuff from Austere Medical Consultants, which are some very turnkey, less expensive, and not as in-depth as like an IFAC for hemorrhaging control, but just more your everyday kind of boo-boo accidents, nicely packaged everything. So we're big fans of turnkey items that work for the customer, because that's how we create the products that we make with the customer in mind, as well as the stuff that we bring in. The other thing that we do here at the company is I'm a huge proponent of, I use everything that we sell. I've spent my own money on everything we sell, and we've tested everything that we sell extensively. So we don't just bring things in on a whim because it's the new cool thing to do or whatever. We test everything first, and then we bring it into the store if we think it's worth using our platform to say, hey, this is a good product, we use it ourselves. You guys should check it out. Make your own decision, but we'll do our best to educate you on it as well, as that customer experience is so important to us.
Nice. I love it. I'm trying to think here. I'm trying to think what else, because you just like, it's like I ask you a question, you're like you're like spewing knowledge and stuff, and it's like I'm running out of stuff to ask you about, man.
No problem, man. It's been fun.
We were talking earlier. I sport a Glock 17 Gen 3 fixed sights. I'm very old school. I know I need to upgrade. I've actually had the opportunity to fire God, I can't remember the name of them. The John Wick guns.
Oh yeah.
I fired like 3 rounds out of this thing. Pling, pling, pling. I was like, take this away. You're making me a worse shot. You know, because it was it's like a shot itself. It's like, you don't even have to just point it in the air someplace and I'll hit the target.
So smooth. Yeah. Funny enough, we had somebody hit us up a year ago or so and said, hey, we're an FFL and SOT as well here. It makes things a little bit easier. We don't sell firearms, but we are using so many handguns, especially for mold development, 3D scanning, and all that stuff that we do in-house engineering for, that we need, and test fitment, of course. We need to have a constant flow of all the newest handguns and everything that are coming through them. So we have an FFL, makes it a little easier, but we had someone hit us up to the FFL and said, hey, we have 2 movie guns. Do you want them? And I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And he sent me a photo of them. And sure enough, they were like the signed John Wick guns.
Yeah.
And he's like, do you want these? It's a novelty. I'm like, not really. I don't need them for anything. And he's like, oh, I'll give you a good deal, $11,000. I was like, I'm good.
That's not a good deal. They're
I'm like,
worth 10,000.
Yeah,
Anyway,
exactly. Yeah,
your story.
exactly.
Keep talking.
Yeah,
Keep talking.
yeah. No, that's it. That's all I was gonna say. It's a pretty funny little tidbit of information that someone actually reached out to us, try to sell us the actual John Wick guns from the movie, and I was like, I don't need those.
I know somebody here locally on the Eastern Shore who owns one of them.
That's
and
cool.
He paid like $9,500 for it, and it's worth 10 grand. That's the standard price for those firearms. But oh my God, unbelievably smooth. I mean, the mechanism is fast,
they
easy.
are nice, yeah.
You know, and it's like, why can't my Glock be like this?
Yep. Yep.
Don't talk bad about me.
Like you said, though, I know, and we're all Glock people here too. I think everyone at the company carries Glock, and we're big, proponents of it. They, like you said earlier, they just work. They do everything fine. They do everything that you need fine. They're not the best in everything. They're not the worst at anything. They just do everything across the board just the way you need it right out of the box. So we're definitely big proponents of Glock here.
Yeah, I carried one for years in the real world, and it's I only had it jammed like one time, and that's because it was bad ammo. But anyway, because this isn't a gun channel, this is not gun tube.
Right. Yep.
Anyway, disclaimer activated. Let's see. Firearms tutorials, truck guns, concealed carry, firearm maintenance and usage. You guys actually have a pretty good time making those videos, and you're probably so busy with the business. I mean, we're talking about before, it's like you guys started getting so busy that you stopped like talking about homesteading. You're just doing the homestead and stuff, you know?
Yeah, we're doing a version of homesteading, I should say. I regret to say that this year has not been good for the garden because, we've been so busy that we haven't been able to put proper time into it. Things like that. But, that comes with the territory. Sometimes we're growing, we're scaling. And that's just how it is sometimes.
Gotcha. West Virginia Pappy popped in here, longtime follower. He says, what's the biggest selling item that you have?
Biggest selling item that we have, the Low Pro holster model, for sure. The light bearing Low Pro holster model is our largest seller by far. Very versatile inside the waistband holster. We offer it for a lot of different models. We offer quick ship. This is one thing that we're very proud of. As a consumer myself, we're all consumers here in this space. And I don't like to wait a long time. The days of waiting 6, 7, 8 weeks for a custom holster are long over, fortunately. And I would like to say that we had something to do with that. As we grew, we pushed the faster and faster getting a holster into your hands message. And I have seen a lot of other companies follow suit since then, which is cool to see. But we offer quick ship 1 to 3 business days from the time you place your order. And the Low Pro is on that list of quick ship holsters, and we do move a lot of them for good reason.
Nice. Yeah, I just did a video the other day about basically gun lights for Glocks.
Yeah.
I think I kind of upset. I found this off brand. I can't remember the name of it, but I kind of like it. I'm in the testing mode right now. And it's got ambidextrous buttons on it. It's got the flash capability on it.
Yep.
But I haven't seen a single holster made for it yet. So it's that far off brand.
The issue is, and this is coming from a holster manufacturer, is there are so many different lights out there. And there are so many different lights made by reputable companies like Surefire and Streamlight. And especially Streamlight, they've really brought their price point down. So back in the day, people were going after O-Light and things like that because it was a cheaper option. Well, now you can get a Streamlight that is.
Okay, so Starlink is kicking in, guys. He's probably still talking right now, and that's okay. But now's the time, and if you guys have questions, you need to throw them in there. This guy's promised us an hour's worth of time, and we need to use that wisely. Go ahead. Is it working now? Nope. It still hasn't got your sound back on yet. There we go. Now we're good. Right. It only works if you say, how about now?
All right, perfect. All right, we'll keep saying it. Can you hear me now? Good.
I can.
So no, I was just saying that from a manufacturing standpoint, people don't realize when you're making your own molds how much time and effort and money it goes into each one of those mold creations. So you do have to kind of go off of how the market dictates. Companies like Streamlight offer
Okay. It's a bad day for Starlink. He'll come back. We'll give him a chance here. I believe.
All right.
Nope, still can't hear you.
Nothing?
Now, go.
Now? Okay. No, I just was saying, just to recap quick, is that with having to put so much effort into mold creation, you have to be a little bit choosy about what lights you pick up. So that's why
Yeah.
there's some really good ones out there that really don't break the bank anymore, especially stuff from Streamlight, I was saying. And so with so many models out there, the market kind of dictates what makes it worth building custom
Yeah,
molds
most
for.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I figure at the worst, if I really want to go down that path with this particular light, I'll
Yep.
just wait till the next gun show, and there's going to be some Kydex guy there,
Right.
and he's going to wrap it around and heat it up and whatever's. I'm not overly concerned about it. I think
Yep.
at this point, I'm probably end up upgrading. Like I said, I've shot with optics, and they're significantly easier to use. And in a gunfight, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. It's that
Exactly.
easy. So
We believe
it's
it.
just that easy.
Yep.
Okay, let's see. I'm not seeing a lot in the chat here. I'm starting to wonder if it's still working or not, but I think people are just listening, to be honest with you. Normally, when I bring people on here, it's really hard to get them to talk because it's like the people that I bring on, they're really interesting people. I don't know if you saw that. There's one guy's like, this guy's badass. and that'll happen. That'll happen. But talk to us a little bit about like your thoughts on self-reliance, because I think that's really a huge part of who you are.
It is, yeah. Yeah, I would say so. One of the core beliefs at the company is preaching self-resilience and self-reliance. And that's why we do dabble in the preparedness space. I wouldn't say that the company is by any means a prepper company, but there is a lot of crossover in getting our community and beyond more prepared. And that's what we're all about. Believe it or not, we don't only look at the bottom line. That's not the most important thing for us at this company. There's way more important things in life than the money that you make. Yes, we're all able to eat from it, but truthfully, we do this because we believe in what we're doing, not just to make a buck. And so all my work in Africa, you don't want to go to the hospital in most parts in Africa. There's no Kazibak. There's no, help is far away, and you are your own first responder. So a lot of us who worked in that environment really learned a lot and did a lot of training based around that, because you do have to be your first responder and for those teammates around you. So obviously risk mitigation and then the training that goes along with that, very important. But you bring that back to the US here on an everyday kind of mindset, is that most people, it's true here, are minutes away from help, whether that be law enforcement or medical assistance. And that's true. But now I lost you.